All right, hello, Metal Maniacs. It's the Meister from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. Absolutely thrilled tonight. I am chatting with the one and only Dave Rodriguez, of course, of the band Show and Tell. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, really excited to chat with you. So I think the big news, the biggest thing right now that's happening is like what 2 weeks ago, I think it was what the 26th of January, Show
Yep.
and Tell album, the full album dropped. Um, uh,
Finally.
yeah, killer album. I've
Thank
been
you.
really digging it. Yeah, the ritual has begun, of course, is the name of the album. Yeah, just it, and I think what I love so much about it is one, it kind of harkens back to my and without being like nostalgic necessarily, but it's got a really cool 80s hard rock and metal feel. There's a little bit of thrash in there, there's speed metal in there, there's a little bit of glam metal in there,
Yep.
for lack of a better term, kind of it's a little raunchy, it's a little sleazy, a little LA. Yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. So congratulations on the release of the
I
album.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Sorry, that wasn't really a question, but I just had to say, like, I've been really digging the album. I thought you dropped the first single off the album, I think on the like early in the month, early in January, um, Night Stalker, which is killer song. And yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't know, like the first time I heard it, it yeah brought up all these memories of when I was in high school and like like seeing MTV with like Rat and
Right.
Megadeth and all the the Headbangers Ball, all that just like came flooding back. I'm like, this is awesome. This is what we need right now. There's this kind of music. So
Absolutely. It's like all those guys are in a blender, and
yeah,
that's kind of how we wrote.
nice. Yeah, really cool stuff. So I guess so one, yeah, again, I wanted to congratulate you on the album and the single. But also I was really curious about kind of how this all started because I know the as far as Show and Tell, you started that about what, like 2019, 2020, around that time, and it was just you. There was no band. You played
Right.
everything. In fact, there's a phenomenal demo available out there, and it's you play every single instrument. You do all the singing, all the writing. It's all Dave.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious how that morphed into now a full band.
Yeah. It's been quite the journey because when I started it into it, it goes back before 2019 as
Hmm.
well as far as writing and stuff.
Okay.
But I wanted to get a band together and do this kind of traditional heavy metal thing, but trying to find like-minded musicians here was was pretty difficult. Like I try to explain to someone what I'm trying to do, but they immediately think like, "Oh, you're doing, straight glam metal. You're doing, some sleaze stuff." I'm like, "No, it's kind of like think Judas Priest,
Yeah.
Iron Maiden. And then you can throw in some other elements on top of it." But trying to explain that to people, it didn't really get through. So I thought the best way to then find my people is to write that demo, play, do everything. I programmed all the drums and, did the guitars and the bass and the vocals. And I felt like that was the best example to show people this is the sound. This is where I'm trying to go with everything.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So you've got three now, you've got a band, you've got three musicians that have joined you.
Right.
And yeah, kind of how was that process? Like, yeah, did they reach out to you, I guess, after hearing the demo?
Yeah, it was then again, like I would think it would be so much easier after that, but still it's just like I would get so many different emails and people contacting me or I have nothing against like a couple of older dudes that lived through the 80s and stuff. They know what's up, but I wanted to keep it kind of all age relevant
Hmm.
to a lot of people. They took offense to that. They were like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, man. I was there." I'm like, "I understand, man, but it's supposed to be like a new kind of younger
Yeah,
band thing.
nice.
But I found some people in the beginning and it was working for a minute, but we just decided to change out drummer and guitar player.
Okay.
And our bass player, Cade Gardner, he's pretty much the original, member from the
Oh,
beginning.
nice.
So then when we were doing the album, we had my brother on drums, and it just didn't work out. So we had to get a session guy to record the drums for the album.
Oh,
And he plays for Vector, Mike Olson.
oh, nice.
And he goes to his practice studio, and he's playing the songs there, and a mutual friend of ours, a drummer, he hears it. He's like, "Oh, this is badass. What is this?" He's like, "Oh, it's Dave's band." He's like, "Dude, I would love to play drums for these guys." And it was just like so perfect. If that chain of events didn't happen, we wouldn't have Mike Thomas on drums now.
Oh, wow,
So
that's interesting.
it was just so perfect. And then our guitar player Daniel, it was trying to find another guitar player that's not, has a giant ego, or, he's not an asshole. I don't know if you can cuss on here.
Oh yeah, feel free.
But he reached out, and, he pretty much checked all the boxes, and he knew what was up, and he liked similar bands that
Cool.
we did. So that's where we are today with
Nice.
the lineup.
Yeah, it seems like a really good fit. What, in hearing the music and I mean in even just the visual in terms of like the Night Stalker video, which is hysterical and I love it by the way. It's yeah, again,
Not
harkens
enough
back to
fog.
harkens back to I mean it feels like an 80s metal video. It's great. And but yeah, it feels like you guys have a really tight bond and you really fit together. You really gel really well together, it seems like. And not just, I think personality wise, but musically, obviously too. I think Daniel's guitar work is, I mean, your guitar work's phenomenal, but his guitar work on top of that, like you two guys together, it's like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, yeah, really works really well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like that. I don't know, just pulling inspiration from, everything from the 80s, George Lynch, Mustaine,
Hmm.
the guy from White Lion, I can never, Vito,
Oh yeah, Vito, yeah.
yeah, him. And then even today with like some of the new school, like traditional metal bands, Skullfist, Enforcer, Evil Invaders. I love all those guys.
Nice. Nice. Very cool. That's great. I love it. Yeah, it's yeah, like I said, I've been really digging the new album. I think it's great. And I love the demo. I thought that was amazing too. I think the um I'm really bad at remembering titles of songs, but I think there was a song is there a song called I'm Alive?
Yeah,
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 that's
that's
my
the
I think
first
that
song on
might
the
be my
demo.
favorite song. I love that. I love the riff on that song. It's just yeah, just hook, line, and sinker for me. It was like, I'm in.
Hell yeah, I think yeah today that's still one of my favorites to just play. I just love all the riffs in there and the solos.
Yeah, yeah, killer song. Yeah, really good song. Nice. Yeah, very cool. So of course, with the release of the album, my next question is what's next? Are you live shows? You got tour, you got shows coming up here?
Yeah, we have a couple of local shows booked. Um, a band that just did our CD release show. We're talking about doing something
Oh, cool.
in April. We're gonna play their CD release show too, but just some local stuff right now. I think we want to do with those guys like a little weekend thing, maybe Phoenix on Friday, then like Tucson, Kingman, all in Arizona. And we're talking about doing something else in May with a couple of bands from LA. Don't want to say anything yet in case it doesn't come to fruition, but
Right.
that's it right now. I think online we're just trying to advertise the hell out of it, really kind of push it. Um it would be great if we could finally break through the US and do something out there in Europe. I
Yeah.
think that's on everyone's goal list right now.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think that would be a good fit for you guys for sure. Like, as there is a it's a I mean this better than I do, but the music business is bizarre, especially in America.
Yeah.
And especially metal. It's a weird scene. It's hard to I don't understand why certain bands are popular or why other bands aren't popular, but it seems like Europe has always really embraced, American metal.
Hmm.
And that never really went away, which is cool. So it seems like, yeah, you would be Show and Tell would be a great fit for, especially the club scene, the metal club scene in Europe, specifically like the Netherlands and Germany and Belgium.
Yeah,
I think you guys
absolutely.
would like just kill it there. You'd kill, and Spain and yeah, and Greece. Yeah, that would be really cool. That'd be, yeah, yeah. Hopefully you can, yeah, get something going there. That'd be really good. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think there might be something else I'm missing too, but I think the only like festival here in the US for like new upcoming like metal bands is like Hell's Heroes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only one I know of.
That's the one in Austin, right? Or no, Oklahoma?
It's no, it's in Texas. I forgot what part of Texas.
Okay. Yeah. But it's kind of it's more yeah, it seems like the only festivals really in America now, it's all like doom and death metal, which is great, but it's like, yeah, there's not the kind of traditional metal, so much as far as apart from that one, which is
Right.
I need to get to that definitely. So yeah, I wish I had gone last year, this past year, because I think Liege Lord played, and I'm like, oh man, that would have been amazing. So
Yeah.
uh,
Every year the build just keeps getting better and better.
yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, that's great though. Like, so obviously, like for fans, we all need to keep an eye on your website and your Facebook page. So hopefully we'll see some announcements coming in the near future with, Los Angeles and then obviously if you're, anybody that's in the Phoenix area or, in Arizona, there's going to be
Yeah.
some cool shows coming up here. That's great. Nice. Very cool. Um, so kind of to switch gears a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to take a ride in the Wayback Machine. And
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
was curious about kind of your start in all of this. Like, did you come from a musical family? Like, how did this start for you?
Yeah, it was like growing up, my dad is the guy that, pretty much educated me and my brother for like, 80s heavy metal music. So
Nice.
growing up, that's pretty much all I can remember is just listening to all kinds of like 80s metal and stuff. And he also played a little bit of guitar.
Oh, cool.
So there are tons of guitars around the house. It's just kind of like a hobby type of thing. And it's just awesome. I think back to being a kid, just having all these guitars laying around the house. And I think at one point I just kind of picked it up, started playing. We already were listening to tons of, metal, Dio, Metallica, Iron Maiden, stuff
Nice.
like that. So just, I never had a guitar teacher. I'm still self-taught right now.
Oh,
It's
wow.
kind of kicking my ass a little bit because I'm this far into my career with no, I guess, proper education, right? I've taught myself up to this point, but in the beginning it was pretty slow.
That's great though. I mean, I'm surprised to hear you say that because you've got some chops. So I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
it's always cool when you hear that somebody's self-taught. I mean, um, especially somebody that can play like the way you play. It's like, wow, I would have assumed you had classical training. Um,
Thank you. I look at some of my peers, some of these other guys coming up, and they some of them went to like GIT or they studied some chorus, and now it's just kind of like you can kind of break out of what you're writing
hmm.
by yourself. And I kind of wish I've been working through a couple of books lately, trying to open up my mind to
Oh,
stuff like that. So
nice, nice. Any particular kind of direction you're going with that, or
it's just like right now for sure, like the new album's out. So for me, when I'm here, it's just start writing the new one.
okay,
And I want the new one to be, 10 times better. But just kind of lately I hear myself just kind of recycling the same patterns, the same almost licks. I'm like I want to kind of break out of that, just explore a little more.
nice. Oh, very cool, very cool. Are there particular I guess this is kind of a twofold question. Are there particular musicians, guitar players specifically that have, influenced you or continue to influence you, as well as songwriters, which, might be mutually exclusive, maybe not. I don't know.
For guitar players, I think number one, until I'm in the grave, will be Mr. Dave Mustaine. That
Nice.
guy is just like I think when I was 16 or 15, I watched a live Megadeth video, and that's when I kind of realized I wanted to do both the vocals and the guitar
Cool.
at the same time. So him, he A to Z, he can pretty much do it all, crazy riffs to real mean solos. But I think for like shredding stuff, it's kind of a curveball. I'm super into Buckethead.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Cool.
he really kind of, just the speed and the clarity of everything. I like that. Or maybe some George Lynch, some Yngwie Malmsteen.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, that's interesting because I've always liked Buckethead, and it's funny. Like I've done many interviews, and I've never had anybody say like, "Yeah, Buckethead's an influence for me," which he should be. He's incredible. So, but
Yeah,
he's a little
great.
obscure, especially now. Like I don't know if I'm a little out of the loop. I don't know. I haven't seen him do anything for a while. So,
No, I heard something a couple years ago. He has like some sort of heart condition.
oh yeah, that's right.
So I think he kind of lays low a little bit now. I've been fortunate enough to see him like I think 3 times.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah, my wife's a big fan. She's seen him live. I never have, but yeah, I think that, which I can't believe. It seems like the last thing I remember him doing, which this goes way back, was the Guns N' Roses, the
Oh,
China democracy. I mean, which was a long time ago. That's the last thing I remember him doing. I'm sure if somebody jogged my memory, I'm sure there's other things I'm like, oh yeah, of course. But I remember him doing that specifically, and I know it wasn't well received, even though I thought it was really fascinating. Um, but and
yeah, it was an interesting time for him.
yeah, it was a weird time for metal anyway. So yeah, metal and hard rock, it was a weird time. Um,
You
but yeah, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Cool. Nice. I love it. Um, yeah. And then how about like vocally? What is your influence in terms of vocals?
I try to pull a little bit of something out of everyone. I think, really good main influence for anyone if you're a metal singer is like, Rob Halford,
Mm.
just a crazy range like that. I've maybe some Jeff Tate in there.
Oh,
If I could only sing like those guys. But I'm lately I the last couple months I've been taking some lessons,
oh, okay.
kind of get my game a little better. I'm working with the guy from Wings of Steel,
Oh,
Leo.
cool. Nice.
So that guy can sing his ass off, and
Yeah.
he offers vocal lessons. So I was like, yep, what a perfect match.
Wow, that's great. Oh, that's really cool. I love it. That's great. Okay, so sorry, I'm gonna circle back a little bit. You mentioned you're already writing, it sounds like, the next album. Like you're already starting to start that process, which which I always think is cool. I love the artistry of musicianship, and it always I don't, for lack of a better term, it always kind of warms my heart when I hear like, oh yeah, we just put the album out, but we're already on the next album. Like we're already working for
Yeah,
something
we're
else.
ready to just get something new and bigger going. We're pushing the new album as hard as we can right now, but just that way people aren't waiting too long for
Yeah.
the next thing. And it's just kind of a little bit of a cushion right now. That way we can just really let everything out just right and right, overwrite.
Yeah. Nice. Do you is it kind of in the same direction as the Ritual album? Are you doing, are you kind of focusing on something different, or if, I don't know if you can talk about that at this point.
Um, it's like I was writing some stuff before we got on here.
Hmm.
I think just kind of expanding everything I have been writing, just not breaking, not exactly breaking away from the typical, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, but maybe just some bigger intros, just a more massive sound altogether, kind of add in some more guitars over the whole thing. It's just that right now it's so early in the process, but I love that because I can just really brainstorm and just spitball, tons of ideas and see what sticks.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I love the fact that um, there seems to be this movement, kind of nationally for traditional heavy American heavy metal, that harkens back to, the early 80s, mid 80s. I love the fact that that's, and it seems to be gaining a lot of momentum. Because I always for me it was always frustrating because at that time there were some of my favorite bands and they just had such a short lifespan because it seemed like they kind of got bulldozed by thrash metal, which I love thrash metal, but it just seemed like, those early 80s, like bands like Omen and Jag
Mhm.
Panzer, and even though they're all still around, it just, they were gaining a lot of popularity and then they just kind of got pushed aside, for what's,
Yeah, smashed.
yeah, which was too bad. So it's really cool that there's new interest in that style again, and it seems like there's a lot of new bands, like Show and Tell and that are embracing that. But I love the fact that you're embracing elements from different, you know, different parts of all of the 80s sound, but then it still has a really modern vibe to it too, which is cool. So it sounds fresh. It doesn't sound,
Absolutely.
like I said before, it doesn't sound like a nostalgic, like, oh, we're gonna, try to sound like Dokken or whatever, but we're gonna take elements from those great bands and do something new and interesting with it, which is great. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like here people in our local scene, they sometimes have a hard time trying to categorize, what we're playing because we do throw in elements from pretty much everything. I think of it as just like it's heavy metal music,
Yeah.
but at the same time I will put in some speed metal elements or thrash metal elements or a little bit of glam in there too. So we'll go around town and say, oh, you guys playing a glam metal band? I'm like, no, it's kind of like heavy metal. Or it's like, oh, you guys are a speed metal band. It's like it's really just heavy metal music.
Yeah, yeah, which is great. I mean, that's the way it was when I was a kid. There was just heavy metal music. There was, that was it. There was nothing, there weren't these subgenres, which, is fine in terms of like if you're trying to explain, describe something to somebody, but at the same time, it gets tedious. It
Yeah,
gets
once when you go
tiresome.
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like, all right, really? Is that really a style, or is this just, are we just pontificating and bullshitting? Is that what's happening at this point? So,
Yeah, there's tons of everything now.
yeah, and I'm guilty of that. So, I've done the same thing. But yeah, yeah, I think that's why I was really, when I first heard Show and Tell, I was really excited because I'm like, yes, this is what I've been looking for is just straight heavy metal. Just,
Hell yeah.
no bullshit, just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really entertaining. It's, killer riffs, killer solos, a great rhythm section. Yeah, just really fun to listen to. Yeah, really cool stuff.
Hell yeah.
Um,
I love it.
yeah, yeah, it's great. It's really cool. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where you guys go with the next album and kind of what your plans are. That'll be really interesting to see where
Evolving.
you go with it. Because yeah, this you know, yeah, Ritual Has Begun is a killer album. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what comes next. It'll be interesting. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, that'll be cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. Uh, this has been really fun chatting with you, Dave. Thank you so much. So for those of you watching, if you look in the description below, there are links to Show and Tell. You can check them out on. I've got links to their Facebook page as well as their. I think I got the band. I'll have the Bandcamp page. Also, YouTube. You want to check out Night Stalker, which is that kick-ass song
Yeah.
and really fun video, really entertaining video. Yeah, kind of, has it's perfect. It's the combination of heavy metal and horror, which I
Right.
adore. It's very 80s, which is very cool. So,
Yes.
yeah. So again, thank you, Dave, so much for chatting with me. This has been really fun.
Thank you for having me, dude. I had a good time.
Nice. Excellent.